Hello, my Italian food fanatics. Today, we're going to learn a little bit about pasta. We're going to take a look at semolina flour, durum wheat flour. We'll learn a little bit about durum wheat. We'll take a look at some spaghetti. We'll take a look at some bucatini. We'll take a look at some rigatoni. And by the time we're done, you'll be able to go into a store, look at the pastas, and just by sight, you'll be able to pick out the best quality pasta that you have a selection of. We'll talk a little bit about cooking times. We'll talk about what is non-GMO and organic and non-organic. And hopefully by the end of it, you'll know just a little bit more than you know right now about pasta. But before we get into it, please thumbs up, like, subscribe, ring the bell, and share. This is perfect for a friend that loves Italian food that you may want to share about pasta. It has nothing to do with actual cooking of a recipe. And if you'd like to leave a comment down below, I welcome that as well. If you tell me what you like about it, tell me what you didn't like about it, I am happy to take some suggestions into consideration for future episodes. And if you've made one of the dishes that I've made on my channel, please let me know on Instagram with a photograph. You can private message me, and I'm happy to feature your name however you want it, your location, whether you want it or you don't want it, we will honor that, and a picture of your dish on the channel. So thank you very much for your subscription and for your time and eyeballs. Now let's get in there and learn a little bit about pasta. See you on the other side. All right, let's get started. Today, we are going to talk about dry pasta primarily, but that does not preclude us from having a little bit of a discussion about fresh pasta and other pastas around the world. In the Far East, they use buckwheat to make soba noodles, typically in Japan. They're famous for them. And of course, we're going to use rice or rice flour to make rice noodles, which are indicative of East Asian cuisine. One country that actually uses both in their cuisines is Iran, or modern-day Persia, which uses rice noodles in a dessert called falude and wheat noodles that in a soup called ash reshteh. So it's very strange that in a country like Iran, which is in the Middle East, you have these two different types of pasta. It's a meeting of theoretical East and West. But there can't be a discussion about dry pasta without talking about fresh pasta. And you'll know what I mean in a moment. This is durum wheat flour. It is typically used to make fresh pasta with the addition of eggs. This is semolina flour. It is typically used to make dry pasta with the addition of water. Those are the basics. Durum wheat flour is also used to make gnocchi with the addition of potatoes and eggs as well. But we're not talking about that, but that's what this is also used for. Durum wheat flour is typically milled very, very fine. As you can see, it's a powder-like consistency. It's a 00 flour. This semolina is a number 1. So there's 1, there's 0, and 00. 00 being very, very fine in comparison to 1. All right? So this feels more like fine sand. This feels more like powder. Now, with fresh pasta, as is also the case with dried pasta, we can add different flavors. For example, if we add spinach, we'll get a green pasta. If we add beet juice, we'll get a red pasta. If we add cuttlefish ink, we'll get a black pasta. And that can be done for both fresh and for the dried. We can also create stuffed pastas. Ravioli, tortellini is indicative of pasta found in the north that's made with fresh pasta. Not to say that, for example, tortellini can be dried as well, but typically it's made with fresh pasta. So now we have to find out, where do we get semolina flour from, and where do we get durum wheat flour from? The interesting thing is that semolina is a product of durum wheat, so they're theoretically one and the same, but they're different. All right? So semolina as I mentioned, is actually the middlings of durum wheat. Semolina is what is produced after processing and making changes to durum wheat. The wheat middlings of the durum wheat that are coarse and have been purified are what come under the tag of semolina. These are specifically, of course, used in making pasta, but semolina, because it's called middlings, can be made from other types of grain, for example, corn and also rice. So there can be rice flour semolina or corn semolina, which we know of as to make polenta. All right, so with that said, how did pasta work its way into Italy? Well, we know for a fact that Marco Polo did not introduce pasta from the Far East into Italy. More than likely, pasta was introduced from Greece and northern Africa into Sicily, Calabria, and Campania and Lazio by traders that came across the Mediterranean. However, wheat itself is known to go back over 7,000 years and the first type of wheat that was grown was emmer wheat or farro. It was ground into a flour and made into pasta. So it's very possible that pasta, and because of where wheat was first cultivated in the Middle East, that's where Italy gets its pasta from. The Italians were eating pasta long before Marco Polo was even born. So it's a misnomer to think that Marco Polo brought pasta to Italy from his travels to China. So even though wheat goes back 7,000 years, it wasn't for quite some time after that that pasta was introduced into Italy. But wheat definitely, and pasta and bread itself worked its way down through the Levant into northern Africa and then into Italy proper. So when we think of pasta, we have to think of one type of wheat that creates these two types of flours that are good for dry and fresh pasta. Durum wheat, duro, which is Latin for hard, it is the hardest wheat that we know of. There are many types of wheat. There's hard winter, there's soft red winter, there's hard red spring, there's durum as we talked about, there's hard white, and of course soft white. But durum is probably the most popular of all of the wheat that is grown in the world today. So with that said, now you know a little something about the where the flour from pasta comes from and how durum wheat is responsible for semolina. But you also know that semolina can be made from other types of grains like rice and corn. So when you read on the packaging of the pastas where it'll say a durum wheat semolina, you have to know that this semolina comes from durum wheat. It makes sense because semolina can come from other types of grains as well. So even though it seems redundant, it's not. It is what it is. It is semolina from durum wheat semolina. So that's why they have to have that big sentence there. Now, here we have a box of the Cecco rigatoni. It's an enriched macaroni product that's made in Italy. The ingredients are durum wheat semolina, which makes sense to you, and then vitamins, because it's enriched. Niacin, thiamine, mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid, and iron. All right? Now, a lot of people are wondering, why in the world would you want to buy a pasta that is enriched? Well, there's a reason for the enrichment of pasta and other things that we have here in America. Typically, in an American pasta, you'll find that across the board, it's been enriched somehow. Not always, but sometimes. This enrichment is basically adding vitamins and minerals. Because in the early to mid part of the 20th century, it was discovered that there were certain nutrients missing in the American diet that could be easily solved by fortifying the foods that America ate. For example, goiter, which is the enlargement of the thyroid gland, is due to the lack of iodine in the diet. So the FDA addressed the problem by having iodine added to salt, or do what's known as iodizing salt. This very small amount of iodine solved the goiter problem in America. Still to this day, salt is iodized. As you can see, if you look on the shelf, Morton's salt, iodized salt, you can see that. Now, not all of it, but it's very easy to find. Vitamin D is added to milk because in the 1930s in America, we had a problem with rickets. Rickets is a condition of bowing of the legs caused by imperfect calcification, softening, and distortion of the bones. This is a disease seen in children, and the cure was to add vitamin D to milk, a product that children consumed every day for the most part. So when you see enriched macaroni product, that means that vitamins and minerals have been added into the flour, and then the pasta is made from that. Is this good or bad? First of all, it's no longer mandatory that pasta, in this example, be made with enriched flour, because if it were, you would not be able to buy pasta that was not enriched in America. Typically, commercially produced flours are stripped of many of their nutritional qualities, and so nutrients are added back into the flour. Even some pasta produced in Italy and sent here, as is the case with the Di Cecco, is enriched. This was done at a time where many of the less fortunate Americans didn't have a varied diet, and the government put policy into effect to help its people stave off nutritional deficiencies that are today cured with a varied diet and more abundant food supply. So now you know the reason why you read enriched and that it's not such a bad thing after all. There you go. All right, here I have 2 dried pastas, and they are of different quality levels. Which do you think is a better quality pasta? Just by looking. It's not easy to tell, I'll tell you that. But you can see there's a slight difference in the color. But what you really want to look at is you have to look very, very carefully at the pasta itself. If you look, you can see little white dots. That's where the mixture of water and flour wasn't complete. It was quickly extruded through industrial dyes and then also quickly dried. The same case is here. By the way, both of these were made in America. This is also industrially produced, but you can see it's a better quality by virtue of the fact that it doesn't have those little white dots on there. That mixture is better mixed, but it's still extruded quickly through dyes and quickly dried. All right. This pasta here is about $1 per pound or less. This pasta here is about $2 per pound, sometimes even more. Now let's add a third spaghetti into the mix. And this is a very high quality, very expensive spaghetti. You can tell just by the color difference. All 3 are made from semolina flour. All 3 are non-GMO, 100% organic. However, you can tell just by looking at this that and feeling it, it's very, very rough. This was pasta that was made in small batches. It was extruded through bronze dyes slowly and also slowly dried. And what this cragginess of the pasta does, number one, when you put this pasta in water, a lot of the starch leaches out and creates that lovely pasta water that we all long for to make semi-permanent emulsions and to enrich the sauce. But it also allows the pasta, because of this cragginess, to hold on to the sauce when the pasta is added into the sauce. So it clings, the sauce clings to this particular pasta. All right, so here are three. This is from Abruzzo. It's about $7 or $8 a pound. This is a Barilla, which is made in America, but Italy's #1 brand. And this is a supermarket brand. I got it at Smart and Final, a large amount, and it's basically it's $2 for 2 pounds. 36, yeah, I believe that's the case. Somewhere around that. I don't know exactly what I paid, but very, very cheap. Normal priced, extremely expensive. But you can see the differences in the two. And there will also be a difference in the cooking time. Although, as you'll soon see, the quality of the pasta is not necessarily indicative of the cooking time, meaning the better the pasta is, that doesn't necessarily mean that they recommend that you cook it for a longer period of time than a less expensive pasta. But we'll get to that in just a moment. Be back. All right, the last batch was spaghetti. This is bucatini, which is a spaghetti-like shape. It's just that it's hollow on the inside. And some people like it more than they like other pastas. Again, I've put them in order of cost. Organic doesn't automatically make it a higher quality pasta. It's the manufacturing process that determines the quality of the pasta that's made. So this is about $1 per pound. This is about $3 a pound, and this is about $8 a pound. All right? So, but the same rules still apply. If you look, you can see that this is very, very smooth, and you can see little white dots here. This one, which is a little bit higher quality, which is not as high quality as this one, you can see that it's sort of dusty and craggy. You can just tell by looking at it that it's a better quality pasta. And of course, you know this is extruded through bronze dyes and dried very, very slowly. This is also slowly dried, but the quality, this is more quickly manufactured. The quality is a lot higher here than it is here, and of course, much higher than over here, even though this is an organic pasta. So, we have to be cognizant of that. Organic doesn't necessarily make it a better quality, but you may prefer to have an organic pasta at a really, really good price. This was purchased at Trader Joe's. This is the Barilla Collezione, and then this is from Abruzzo that I got at Whole Foods. Very expensive. Also, the fact that it's artisan made and that it is imported in here adds, of course, to the price. This pasta in Abruzzo is probably going to be a lot less expensive, and you're going to get much better pastas for much cheaper price in Italy than you would here. Although, remember, like I said, Barilla is Italy's #1 pasta, so not everyone in Italy is conscious of the quality of the pasta, and not everybody wants to have a really high quality pasta. They just want to eat. So there you go. Here we go. This was an example of organic, low, regular, and high quality in bucatini. We're going to come back with one more example for you. All right, now let's talk about one of my favorite shapes of pasta, and that is rigatoni. I love rigatoni. I like all pasta shapes that are uniform, believe it or not, more so than I like the ones that are not uniform. But that's a story for a different day. Here we have two different types of pasta. One is an ordinary $1 a bag pasta, and the other one is an organic rigatoni. Can you tell which is which? You should be able to, just by the color. This is the ordinary stuff, and this is the organic. But now, if we take a look at this pasta, you can see that it's very, very uniformly made. And if we take a look at this pasta, you can see, even though it's organic, the production method leaves a little bit to be desired. Now, this is about $3 a box. Look at this one. It was not properly mixed. So the dough, when it was extruded through whatever dyes that they extrude it through, wasn't properly mixed in. Whereas this is far more uniform. This is Trader Joe's at $1 a bag, and this is Whole Foods at about $2 a box for a pound. So now, let's add in some more. By the way, some of these pastas are labeled non-GMO, which basically means that they are organic. Let's pull in this particular one. This is the Checo. And you can see, this is considered to be about middle of the road, very, very good pasta that I like to use, believe it or not. I really like the Checo brand. It is day in and day out use. It's fantastic for just an ordinary sauce or pasta that you're going to cook. Now let's get a little bit better here. This is, believe it or not, the Barilla, which is Italy's #1 brand. This is their organic, or their collezione. It is the artisan pasta, and you can see that it is a little bit dull, and you can see the little white bits in there, which means that it was extruded through bronze dyes and slowly dried. Even though the Checo claims that this is slow dried as well, this you can obviously see it's a better quality slightly. Let's go over here now and bring in this pasta, and look at that. Now there's a stark contrast to all of these other ones. Look how dull and dusty, essentially, or with the starch this is. And it's obvious that this was slow dried. It's obvious that this was extruded properly through bronze dyes. And this is imported Italian. This is the most expensive one of the whole bunch. Here is even a better quality pasta. Look at how craggy and how dull this particular rigatoni is. This is phenomenal. This is an organic rigatoni, but it is made in America. That's why it's less expensive than this one, which is Italian. So you're looking at $1 a bag. You're looking over here at about $2. You're looking at $3. You're looking at $4. You're looking at $7 or $8, and you're looking at about $5 right here. So these represent all different price levels and theoretical qualities of pasta. So now let's talk about cooking times. You would think that because of the quality of this pasta that it would take longer to cook, when in fact that's not true. The manufacturer on the box states this should cook between 5 and 8 minutes. You would think that it would need longer, but it doesn't, according to the manufacturer. Still, you have to taste as you boil the pasta to make sure that it's of the right consistency that you like. This one, they suggest between 10 and 11 minutes. This one, 13 to 15. The Barilla Collezione, 14 minutes. The De Checo, between 12 and 14 minutes. And the El Cheapo from Trader Joe's, 11 and 13 minutes. By the way, this is organic, this is organic, this is organic, this is non-GMO or theoretically organic, and so is the De Checo. This is non-GMO as well. The only one that is not non-GMO or not organic is the Trader Joe's bottom of the barrel. All right? So with all of these, you're getting a very, very high quality non-GMO organic product. So if you were to stand there in the store and you had to choose one, you'd probably go here, especially just by looking at it. If we knew the price, you would definitely go to this one right here. Second best would be here, third best would be here, fourth, fifth, and then the bottom of the barrel. Though I have to admit, I love the Checo pasta. Look how uniform these rigatoni are in comparison to this one. In fact, you can find a lot of anomalies in this particular brand, or the Whole Foods branded rigatoni or pasta. And this one, this Barilla Collezione, is an excellent, excellent product. So there you go. Now you know a little bit more about pasta than you did before, and I hope that it serves you well. Thank you. Hello, my Italian food fanatics. So, there you go. What did you think? Do you know something a little bit more than you did before? Who knows? Maybe you already knew this information and this is nothing new to you. Maybe you gained one or two little tidbits of insight, and hopefully that will make it easier not only for you to make a decision with regard to price and quality, but also to pay a little bit more attention to the different cooking times, and to also know that theoretically almost every pasta that you're going to get out there, almost everyone, is going to be a non-GMO or organic. And you also know about durum wheat and semolina and where they come from, and hopefully you know a little bit more. Let's put it that way. Please, if you haven't done so already, hit the thumbs up button, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and leave a comment down below. Again, I'm happy to feature a dish that you've made from one of the dishes that I feature on the channel. Please contact me on Instagram at Chef Argenti, and you can send me a photograph, and I'm happy to feature your name, the place that you come from if you want to do that, and the dish itself in one of my future episodes. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks so much for subscribing and watching the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, see you soon. Bye-bye.